Yes, WFM 91.7. It's 10 minutes past 3 here in the studio. And yes, you know what the program is? It is Women of 1325. And today we'll be talking about something really interesting. We'll be talking about the UNSC Resolution 2250. And this is Youth, Peace and Security Agenda. Yes, today this is what we're going to be talking about, the UNSC Resolution 2050, Youth, Peace and Security Agenda. And definitely, I want us to just give a brief, introduction into what the Women of 1325 radio program is all about. And this has to do with the United Nations, through various resolutions, recognizes the disparate impact that violent conflict has had on women. It highlights the fact that generally women have been left out of peace processes, reconstruction and stabilization efforts. They recognize the imperative for the full and equal participation of women at all levels, ranging from conflict prevention to post-conflict reconstruction, peace and security. The resolution, amongst a host of others, frame the women, peace and security agenda. And the women of 1325, in summary, is that radio show that hopes to attain female gender inclusivity, protection, and inclusivity and protection, as well as equality. And yes, just like I said earlier, we will be discussing about the UNSC Resolution 2050, Youth, Peace and Security. And today I am not alone here. I will not be doing this alone. I have in the studio with me, or over the phone rather, I have Dr. Tokwe Olaifa. She is the Executive Director, Stephanie Peace Building and Development Foundation. Hello, good afternoon, Tokwe.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How's your day been?
Okay. Very well.
All right. It's good to have you on the program this afternoon.
Thank you very much.
Yes, and talking about... Oh, all right. Thank you for joining us. And still talking about, the 2050 resolution, which has to do with youth, peace and security agenda. This has to do with the involvement of youth in, the peace resolution in... this has to do with the peace resolution. And yes, the United Nations Security Council adopted unanimously on December 9th, 2015, a groundbreaking resolution on youth, peace and security, which recognizes that young people play an important and positive role in the maintenance and promotion of international peace and security. And the UNSC 2250 identifies 5 key pillars for action. And this has to do with participation, protection, prevention, partnership, and disengagement and reintegration. This landmark resolution urges member states to give youth a greater voice in decision making at the local, national, regional, and international levels, and to consider setting up mechanism and that would enable young people to participate meaningfully in peace process. Yes, Tokwe, I really want you to elaborate on what the UNSC 2050, resolution actually really is.
Thank you very much. I think the issue here is that the world has witnessed a level of inactivity from the sector of youth. And you would agree with me. It's not as if our youth don't have the energy. It does not mean they don't have the wherewithal to be active. But there is no level playground for them.
Okay.
The opportunity for them to actualize their dreams, their goals, and all that, and to participate in nation building has not been given adequately.
Okay.
And so it's like we have had them just growing up without really contributing so much, actively contributing effectively to the development of their communities.
Okay.
And that is why this UNSCR 250 came at a very good time.
Okay.
What we are witnessing is not in Nigeria alone. It concerns all people, youth from all over the world. So when Jordan made that initiative and said youth should be members, the participatory members of the development of their areas and the peace and security, to sustain peace and security in their communities. It became a welcome idea.
Okay.
To the UN member states.
All right.
And so it was unanimously adopted in December 2015.
Yes.
But you see that the 5 key pillars that the UN has actually outlined, you see that they are the areas in which youth have been sidelined. In participation, they are not allowed to govern. Proper education is not given them. They are just on their own.
Yeah.
Nobody is actually thinking about their security, what happens to youth after leaving this level of education, what happens, preparing structures, institutions that will embrace this youth and train them towards the task they are going to perform in future.
Okay.
All these things are not there.
So now, Tokwe, okay.
Yes.
Talking about, youth being involved. Now, let's take a look at the political system in Nigeria. Now, we discover that when it has to do with times where elections are supposed to hold, most of the time, the places where you actually get to see the youth is where they have to, go and conduct rallies for the electoral candidates, for political parties. And, most of the time, they are used as political thugs. Now, they are not just even there to only mobilize, but most of the time, they are used as agents of destruction. And now, this coming up, we even have the issue presently ongoing about Elisha Abo, who is the youngest, legislator in the Senate. And, he's a young person, but unfortunately, the way he has handled the issue of assault, he actually assaulted a woman. And, a number of persons just came up and said, yes, these are the youth that they are actually saying they have to roll, not too young to roll, that was actually brought about. And now this happening. But the question is, have the youth actually been, put on the right path? Have they been shown the way on how to go about, carrying out all of these activities, participating in the right way when it has to do with anything that has to do with security, even in politics?
Well, like I said earlier on, the youth have been denied all this. They do not have the right for social development. And so they are deficient in some areas.
Okay.
And it is not their own fault. It's because of the system.
Okay.
The system in which they have found themselves. There was a time they were saying some people were Busa regime. Yes. They were born during the military era. And now they understood. Yes. Everything is violence. And there was, it was like everybody was helpless. If the proper atmosphere is engendered to breed our youth the way they should be bred, you will see that a lot of these things will change.
Okay.
But that is not saying that all our youth are like that senator.
Okay.
I have met youth that you will be proud of in Nigeria.
Okay.
I have met youth that are cognitively active, very much alert, and intellectually
All right.
If I engage them on any sphere, you will see them delivering.
Yes, and they perform excellently well.
Exactly. You see that even during the last election, some of them came out, for the presidential election.
Yes.
They were dropped because they lack the kind of sensitivities that have been associated with the Nigerian politics, because they were just intellectual.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr.
Would want them to be there.
All right.
Not all of them are like that senator.
All right.
Are very good youth among them.
Thank you very much. 20 minutes past 3 on WFM 91.7. The phone lines are open for you to make your contributions on the program today. We are talking about the UNSC Resolution 2250, and this has to do with youth participation in peace, security in the country at large. So now make your own contribution. Call us 07000 917 917 090 256 25455. Send a WhatsApp and text message on 070 317 56537. Yes, if you're a youth listening to me, you can actually phone in. Whatever it is that you feel are some of these, challenges of youth being deterred from participating in anything that has to do with nation building, and this has to do with peace and security agenda, and this has to do with the youth. Call us. What are your own ideas on this? What are those things that need to be done? Let's get to know. The topic today is the UNSC Resolution 2250, Youth Peace and Security Agenda, and this is women of the 1325. So now, still talking about youth participation in peace. Tokwe, I'm coming to you now. Compared to the advancement of women participation in politics, are there any national or international efforts put in place in ensuring youth participation in peace building at all? Let's start with Nigeria.
There are so many conventions, many protocols that have been advanced towards youth participation, youth development, youth in peace, like the one we are talking about, UNCR 250. There are so many.
And we're definitely signatories to this.
Is the implementation at the national level. You see, these people sign treaties, they sign documents, international documents and all that. But for them to now implement it at the national level becomes a problem.
Okay.
Now, while we were discussing this 2019 election, we were saying there should be representation. Well, of course, the Beijing has given us a landmark, 35% affirmation, that we should have 35% affirmation in the
women participation in politics.
And of course, a certain level of percentage too is expected for youth. And all these presidential people came out and said, the candidates, they came out and said, we are going to do social percentage to youth. We are going to involve youth and all that. You saw the list that came out last week. Not a single youth was made a minister in Nigeria. That is one thing. It is just stamping the statement that youth in this country are only recognized as thugs for politicians. Because it's these youth that will go out and campaign for them and do all sorts. They will engage them, even in violence.
Okay.
Just to carry votes for them.
Okay.
But
so now,
as long as you see them, they are not given opportunity even to participate in politics.
Okay, so now we already know that there is a problem. There is a problem of, implementing and youth participating. So now what are some of the structures that need to be put in place, or a system that needs to be put in place to enable more youth participate in, peace building, not just peace building, politics and every, and every sphere of the country at large?
Okay. There must be, first and foremost, the political will of
Okay.
the government
Mm.
to lift the status of Nigerian youth from thuggery and then lift it to a stage where they would be effectively utilized in nation building rather. There must be that political will.
Okay.
Then youth themselves should realize that there is something beyond money.
Okay.
There are some things they need to do so that they will become acceptable in the society.
Mm.
Because in actual fact, when you see some youth, you will not want to entrust any post of responsibility to them.
Okay.
That is true.
Mm.
But then, not all of them are like that. We can single those ones out, those ones that are presentable, those ones that are good, those ones that can deliver. We can single them out and give them opportunity to move up in nation building, to contribute their own quotas. We are talking about this peace thing, how they can be engaged in peace building. We know that their background is a bit warped in that many of the parents didn't even have the time for them to bring them up the right way.
Okay.
But then, at a certain level, they can still be cropped and reoriented. And that is what I am.
Okay, so you're saying reorientation is really very important at this point. Okay.
Yes. Let's just crop them, reorientate them, train them in national building, train them in self-development, self-discipline too, so that they will be able to hold positions for us. In fact, these old people cannot be there always. The time is coming, all of them will pass away. Who will remain?
Okay.
Yes, that is it. So we should be thinking of our future. These youth are our future.
Okay. So now talking about the youth being our future. Now, would you agree that there is, these trust issues, I would say, not trusting in the youth to be able to carry out some of these, to be able to allow them express all of their energy in a good way, and this has to do with teaching them, just like you said, putting them through on some of these things. So the question now is, what do we do as regards the issue of trust, so that the trust that has been lost in the youth, just seeing them as, okay, they're just there just to be used as agent of destruction, or rather they are just seen as those who don't really have an idea of what's going on in the political system or anything that has to do with the development of the country. What do we do about the level of trust in the youth?
It's okay. We can build a level of trust in our youth.
Okay.
By catching them young.
Okay.
Yes. We know there are some of them that are maybe 35, 40 that are already made. There is nothing you can do about them. Yet, not all hope is lost even in this one. Children in the primary school, secondary school, and the universities, we can still do some things. Teach them in the line of peace building.
Okay.
Let them know that they have to be good for their own self first.
Okay, for their own self first. Okay.
To the nation. They have to be useful. They have to be goal-oriented. Children who are brought in these peace-building activities are very likely to grow up with certain goals that will be beneficial both to them and to the community.
Okay.
Such people would have been equipped with the right skills. They would have been equipped with the right kind of orientation. The right kind of world view that would promote peace, and security in the nation. But if we allow them, our youth, you see, like in the since 2013, one of Nigeria has engaged youth in Ogun State.
Okay.
On this peace and security issue. Right from the primary school, secondary school, and we are engaging students of tertiary institutions too.
Okay.
What do we do? We go amongst them. We train their teachers. After training the teachers, we now tell them to train the students so that they can perform some little rudiments of peace building, particularly conflict resolution.
Okay.
Amongst themselves within the school.
Okay.
And they are usually known as young peace builders.
Okay. Okay.
If they have that label on their minds right from the beginning, they know they should not be found in the area of violence.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr.
Okay.
All right. 29 minutes to 4 on WFM 91.7. I am Bukola Balogun, and we have been discussing about the UNSC resolution 2250. And yes, callers, make your own contributions. 07000 917 917 090 256 25455. And we have been talking to someone who has been enlightening us about what it is particularly that has to do with youth involvement in peace building. And this does not necessarily have to be in Nigeria alone, but in the world at large. We have Dr. Tope Olaifa. She's the Executive Director, Stephanie Peace Building and Development Foundation. And the topic for today is the UNSC Resolution 2250, Youth Peace and Security Agenda, and this is Women of 1325 on WFM 91.7. 07000 917 917 090 256 25455 are the numbers to dial to be a part of, Women of 1325 this afternoon. Now, moving forward, you have mentioned, Tope, that implementation of some of these policies or some of these laws that have been put in place to encourage the participation of youth in anything that has to do with peace building, not just peace building now, the development of the country at large, they exist. So what are some of these obstacles that actually limitate against, the successful implementation of particularly the UNSC Resolution 2250?
Yeah. If the UNSCR 250 is not prioritized in any government activities, definitely it cannot go.
Okay.
There are some things that government needs to drive. We know there are CSOs working, you go to the communities and talk and do a lot of things, capacity building for them and the rest of them. But there's a limit to which any NGO can go.
Okay.
If government is not driving that vision with it.
Okay, so the government itself has a part to play. Now the legislatures, don't you think they also have a part to play in this?
What?
I said the legislatures, don't you think they have a part to play in this?
They are part of the government.
Okay.
When the appropriate law is done, it's passed, government will have to sign.
Okay.
Some laws that are passed like that just lay waste on the tables of government. If you don't lobby, CSOs don't lobby and lobby and lobby, they won't even get passed at the legislative level. So all these are obstacles that we encounter. And when there is no law backing your activities, you are doing it illegally. So this is another issue that is preventing all these laws to be implemented at the community level.
Okay.
We know, like I was saying, the government and the CSOs have to work hand in hand. We are partners. But the moment government begins to suspect CSOs as if they are their enemies, they have come to look into their activities, they have come to negate all the things they do and all that. There is no way a healthy partnership can be forged between the two.
So presently now there has to be unity amongst the government and civil service
and the non-governmental
organizations. Okay.
Those who go to the grassroots to implement these things.
Okay, so talking about the grassroots, now we know we still have so many greater number of children who are there who don't really understand what it means for people to go to school. Now we have we have quite a number of out of school children, and you mentioned the fact that WANEP has been trying to go to schools to ensure that they have programs like Young Builders. Now this is something that is quite interesting and very important. Now, is this just being carried out just in government schools, or they're trying to also inculcate the private schools into this? So this is not just limited to the government alone.
Yes, you are right. It's not limited to government schools alone. We have quite a number of private schools that are involved. We have private schools in the primary school, then in the secondary school. And we have it has become an annual thing. We have so many activities that we perform. And the World Peace Day is usually, it's usually celebrated.
Okay.
These schools now coming together to showcase what they have been doing during the year.
Okay.
And recently, what did we do? We tried to introduce to them storytelling. Peace building by storytelling. Because we know that a lot of us, when we were going on, were built through these storytelling sessions by grandparents and great-grandparents. Many of these children lack that.
Okay.
Now, sometimes you want to take some action, but remember the consequence that somebody suffered in a story you've heard before. You try to caution yourself. Oh no, don't let me do it, so that I will not suffer this kind of consequences. So we started that last year. It was beautiful.
Okay.
This year too, we are going to do that. We have been telling the students, the trained teachers, we have been telling them to start grooming the students to tell their own stories. Then they will now come to listen to other stories.
Okay.
Folk tales in particular that will interest them, that will have sense, things that will make them remember all these things.
All right.
The moral lessons will be brought out adequately.
All right.
So that it will have a definite effect on these children.
All right. Thank you very much there.
Some part of their growing up experience.
Thank you very much there, Tope. Women of 1325 on WFM 91.7. It's 20 minutes to 1 here in the studio. We still want to get to hear your contribution. Call us 07000 917 917 090 256 25455. And we have been discussing the UNSC Resolution 2250, Youth, Peace and Security Agenda. Now, looking at the population of the youth in the world, population of people in the world, we have 7.6 billion people in the world presently, and the youth, are 1.8 billion out of the 7.6 billion, number of persons on earth presently. So now, what would be your advice on steps that the UN can take to encourage the full implementation of the UNSC Resolution 2250 in all member nations. But before you answer that, let's take this call. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
My name is Felicia. I'm calling from Songwater.
All right, Felicia, your contribution this afternoon.
Yes. I want to speak. I don't know if I can talk to Dr. Tunde.
Okay, no, this is not the program to actually get to talk to any doctor. You just listen in the morning by 10 a.m. You'll be able to speak to any doctor you want to get to talk to. That's on Radio Doctor Hour, 10 a.m. every day.
10 a.m. every day, okay.
Yes. All right. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you.
All right. 07000 917 917 090 256 25455. Yes, talk where you had the question I asked. How can we, or what are those steps that UN can take to encourage the full implementation of the UNSC Resolution 2250 in all of its member nations?
Yeah, I think the UN on its part can begin to support initiatives that would culminate in the capacity building for this youth. Reorientation programs that will shape their future, that will shape their worldview and make them goal-oriented. So that is part of the UN, and that is through funding. If they fund at these activities, it will just go. I want to tell you that we have problems with the UN enforcing these laws on these states.
Okay.
That has always been the problem.
Okay, so more like the UN is not doing enough to enforce those laws?
Aha!
Okay.
They're not doing enough to enforce this, that, this law that you have signed to, just make sure you implement it. You don't find the UN doing that assertively.
Okay.
And that has always been the bane of all UN laws. But, you can only just encourage these countries, let them satisfy their conscience. If they sign to a treaty, if they sign to a convention or a protocol, let them make sure they implement them.
Okay.
There's no point going to say, my youth are for peace, they are for security. You say it to the world, but you use your youth as thugs. You don't have any plans for the youth. The youth that I'm saying have distinguished themselves in Nigeria. These are on their own.
Okay.
Probably many of them even went to public schools where there were not enough teachers. Public schools where there were not enough things. Maybe they even sat on building blocks.
Okay.
But they grew up, and worked on themselves. Improved on what they got from school, and they emerged, as examples, great examples.
Okay, now talking about the UN actually, following up. Now, you have noted something that it's more like we'll have our leaders go out there and they go to say, yes, our youth are for peace, they're for this, they're for that. Now, no doubt that is done. But also, what of us as Nigerians or as individual nations, holding up to the promise that we have made there, saying yes, we are a part of we're part of this resolution. Why don't we do the right thing? Why don't we do what we are supposed to do? Do we necessarily have to be pushed to do everything at every point in time?
Exactly. That is justice. We need them to wait to be pushed. If you sign to a treaty, know that you have signed to it.
Okay.
And you want to see it implemented. Implement these protocols about youth. Let youth themselves know that they count in the scheme of things in their own country.
So awareness still has to be made so that the youth can actually know too.
Awareness, confidence building, but that they too would feel relevant.
Okay.
And they'll be triggered into thinking of positive ways of affecting their own country.
Okay, and fighting for what belongs to them too.
Exactly. That's why I said right from the inception that government needs to drive this thing. We are talking about orientation. We are talking about how many private organizations can handle that. I do my own in my own area. Most comfort, I just do it. I am seeing positive effects. But then how does that translate to the generality of the society?
Okay.
Supposing we have people, government is driving it. Oh yeah, we have seen that kind of thing before. Through MAMSA. It's not alien to Nigeria. We saw how effective MAMSA was.
Okay.
Orientating and reorientating the people.
Okay.
They went everywhere because it was government that drove it. Everybody walked. Everybody was driven into doing things, and we saw the impact.
All right.
At that time. So it can be done again.
Okay. Thank you very much.
As I said, the political will must be there on the part of government.
Okay. The political will is quite important in ensuring that
very important.
Yes, youth participate in peace building in Nigeria. Now we have the issue of insecurity still being a problem in Nigeria presently. Now it's more like we can't even go to sleep with both of our eyes closed. We have to go to sleep, being overconscious. Even when you go out, you discover that yes, we really have to be very careful. We just go out every day in, day out, hoping that we come back home in peace. Now we come back in peace and definitely in a peace. Yes, everyone hopes for that. But now we also still have the present issue that has to do with insecurity presently ongoing in Abuja, and this has to do with El Zakzaki's followers. Now we still have all of that still happening, and the interesting part of it, or would I say, is the fact that it is youth that are mostly used. Because if you look at all of the protests we have seen, most of those people involved are the youth, whether a woman or a man. They are majorly involved in this. So now, as regards the issue of security, particularly, let's even look at Nigeria. We have very few of the youth represented in the legislature, in the National Assembly. How do we ensure that we have more of them, particularly in the National Assembly, so that, this peace building, we can get to hear from their own, you can get to hear from the youth perspective, you get to hear from the older citizens, what they also have to say, because this is actually a joint effort, both men, women, the youth, even the children sometimes really need to hear them out to know what they have to say. So how do we ensure that, particularly when it has to do with the National Assembly, we have more youth involved in lawmaking, in anything that has to do with the development of the country?
Yeah, it's a good thing that you notice that many youths are in the National Assembly.
We actually have few of them. We don't really have a lot of them.
We don't have them. They are represented there. But the issue is of the teeming number of youth. How many of them have the opportunity to be where they are? And when they get to this National Assembly, what do they do? I told you the orientation of quick money is there. They want to make money.
The national cake. I want to take I want to take my own part, my own share.
Exactly. That's why many of them went into politics in the first place. so that they can join their older ones to do it the way they do it.
Okay.
So the issue of now the youth at the National Assembly in influencing legislation, that would promote youth participation is nil.
Okay.
But then I still believe that orientation too can still be influenced.
Okay.
Yes. It
All
can
right.
be influenced if our CSOs too rise to the occasion. I know that this youth in our legislative arms can still help in promoting legislations that come up with youth and that relates to youth, peace, and security.
All right. Thank
So
you very
that
much.
They can legislate and give us laws. But then, like I said, the laws are there. Who's implementing them?
All right. Thank you very much.
That's
9
the
minutes.
problem.
Yes, 9 minutes to 4 on WFM 91.7. And this is still Women of 1325. And today we have been discussing about the UNSC Resolution 2250, Youth, Peace and Security Agenda. And we have been speaking with, over the phone, we have been speaking with, we have been talking to Tope, and she has been enlightening us on what we have to know as regards, the issue of peace and security, particularly peace building in Nigeria and the involvement of youth. We have Dr. Tope Olaifa, who has been doing justice to that. She's the Executive Director, Stephanie Peace Building and Development Foundation. And yes, before we'll finally wrap up this afternoon, I just want to, share with us some of the achievements that have been derived from the UNSC Resolution 2250 on, on the part of Nigerian youth. Yes, Togo, are you there with me? All right. Yes. Try to call us 07000 917 917 090 256 25455. Send a WhatsApp or a text message on 070 317 56537. Make your own contribution on the program today, and so we get to hear your own opinion on the topic of the day. We have been discussing about the UNSC Resolution 2250, peace, youth, peace and security agenda, and this is Women of 1325. Definitely we're about wrapping up, but yes, we can still take your call. What do you think about the involvement of youth in peace building in Nigeria? Do you think the youth have been involved enough with the development of the country as a whole in Nigeria, and not just in Nigeria? Do you think the youth have been generally been involved? Yes, we're with you. Involved in the issue of security building in Nigeria. Yes, as I was saying, Topa, before the line went off. For us to wrap up, can you share with us some of the achievements that have been derived from the UNSC Resolution 2250 on our Nigerian youth? What are some of these achievements that the youth have been able to benefit? Is there any at all? If there is any,
I am trying.
You are trying to think. You don't even.
Then there is no way you can ignore the efforts of the UN through their agencies, UNDP, UN Women,
Okay.
have been organizing programs.
Okay.
They have capacity building programs for youth, young women, even youth generally.
Okay.
They have been organizing. And many LCSOs too have also been able to get funding to organize programs for youth. That is going on and all that. But you see, what we are saying is the impact.
Okay.
The only impact I can see that is so definite and apparent is that more youth came out to vie for presidency.
Okay. So that there has been the awareness.
Participation. The awareness has been struck.
Okay.
The awareness has been struck, and it's like they are rising to the occasion.
Okay.
Yes. So I think what we need to do now is to encourage them.
Okay.
To come out to the mall. And look at those things that may be hindering them from achieving their goals.
Okay.
For now. And work towards, blocking that area.
Okay.
Improving in that area so that they can, they can do it and they can achieve a lot, particularly in political participation. I think that is one area that cannot be ignored.
All right.
But another one that I have seen is that more youth are getting self-employed. Yes, they have acquired skills that are making them stand on their own.
Okay.
I know some youth that came up with this agro business, and they are making it.
All right.
They take money from people and farm for them and give them returns, quarterly.
Okay.
And I have seen that I am involved in one, so I can say that categorically that I know.
All right.
All youth. And they are doing it, every 4 months they give you your returns on farming and all that. And that is something. They are engaged constructively.
All right.
And in fact, along the line, you find some of them saying, I got another engagement somewhere, that kind of a thing.
All right.
That one is happening. And I believe that if we concentrate more on their development, we are going to achieve
more.
That we have now.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your contribution today. And we have been talking to Dr. Tope Olaifa. She's the Executive Director, Stephanie Peace Building and Development Foundation. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon, Tope.
Thank you very much for the opportunity of speaking.
All right. Thank you. Yes, and as we are wrapping up today, in conclusion of everything that has been said today, we just want to ensure that over the decades, the involvement of some young people, particularly young men, but also increasingly young women in violence and extremist groups has led some to paint youth generally as a threat to global security and stability. But research has definitely shown that youth who participate actively in violence are a minority, while majority of youth, despite injustice, deprivation, and abuse they confront daily, particularly in conflict contexts, are not violent and do not participate in violence. And yes, a growing body of evidence suggests that young women and men can play active roles as agents of positive and constructive change. Thank you very much. And it is against this backdrop that women of 1325 have come to provide a framework for the protection of women and inclusion of gender perspective in peace building activities. Women of 1325 is sponsored by WANEP, West African Network for Peace Building, with support from the Norwegian Agency for Development and Cooperation, Women in Peace Building Network, WebNet. Thank you very much for staying tuned to Women of 1325, and it holds every Tuesday on Women Radio by 3 p.m. rather. Thank you very much to the production team. Thank you very much, Blessing Kale, for your contribution. Make it a dot with us same time next week, Tuesday by 3 p.m.
WFM 91.7.